Alright, so good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for coming and listening to this one. Actually, if you've been here last few months ago, I talked a little about this, but there's just some recent progress because I just went to the conference in Denver last March. So the experiment will be the same as that. So I entitled this From Neutron's Love to the Rockies, navigating the American Physical Society, that's APS Global Physics Summit, and securing travel funding. So I'm again Hernandez Lazar Jr. from IPPS and also physics. From those institutions, I'm very grateful and thankful because for the past 2 years we did several beam times in different parts of the world, including the Oak Ridge National Laboratory completed like 3 experiments in Oak Ridge. We have partners from National Institute of Standard and Technology continuously mentoring us, the students, and also Professor Chong Chong and advisors continuously communicating or collaborating with them. And also for funding, the IPPS, the physics, and also my sending university from the Philippines, who's very generous also. Whenever I tell them that I have some beam time in different parts or some areas. So just a little introduction of what we were doing, why do we have to travel from these parts of the world. The nature of the work experiment can only be done in some specified laboratories in the world. So these are composed of very large facilities that sometimes need to use nuclear reactor to generate the neutrons. So we have to use the neutrons to do the experiment and then to focus them into some beams and target our samples. So for instance, we've been doing experiment in this part in the US where we have SNS, spallation neutron source, and HFIR, or the high flux isotope radiation. So they're just in the same compound but different areas, different source of neutrons. We did 3 experiments there before. We also did some experiments in J Park, that's Japan Proton Accelerator Research Complex, that's north of Tokyo, around 2 to 3 hours travel from the airport. We also did already like two experiments, same experiment, and also one in Australia, in ANSTO, Australian Nuclear Scattering, ano, Nuclear Science and Technology Organization. So usually, if you have an experiment you want to propose with them, that's an opportunity to travel in these parts of these different laboratory. They have proposals, they open proposals where you can use their beam lines. So this one is from Oak Ridge, from ANSTO, and this is for J-Park. So for the Oak Ridge, as I said, it's a very huge facility where you have a synchrotron, you accelerate your proton or electron in a target that will produce neutrons. And then the neutrons will be focused into beams and then will be directed in different beam lines in different parts of this area. So I think that part is around here. So the experiment hole are around this area where we do the experiment. So an example of our experiment are in this room. It's very complicated. There's so many instruments that are in the system. Okay, so why do we need neutrons? Primarily because of its nature, that we want to probe the magnetization of the material up to the nanometer scale. Our fields are so small, like few nanometers, that we want to probe the magnetization of those few nanometer thick. So we want neutrons because it will interact with the magnetization. One is because of its magnetic probe, atomic penetration, and inelastic dynamics. So if you're in another field, probably you're in chemistry, you also might want to consider if you want to, for example, detect materials that are light. Neutrons are more scattered in light materials than those with the larger atomic number or atomic weight. They scatter more, so uh, there are other applications for this. For our case, we just use it for the films. For the films, when we hit this, for example, we also use X-ray, but if you want the magnetization, we use neutron with the beams, and then it will hit the film, then it will be reflected into the detector. The profile of the reflected ray is determined by the properties of the film. So since we're looking at the neutrons, we're looking at the nanometers scale properties. So we can detect the thickness, the deposition sequence, the magnetization, and more, all of this. So that's why we have to go there to do this experiment. Okay. So upon the completion of the experiment, we were able to try to analyze the data, make sense of the data, and try to present it to the public. So where, of course, from the physics field, we have to choose the American Physical Society, which I will discuss further later, the largest physics gathering in the world. But if you're also interested in going to the US with another, these are like their counterpart in different fields, since we're from different fields right now here. So just right a week after APS, they also have ACS in Atlanta, Georgia. APS was in Denver. In another fields, they also have the Cell Bio, American Society of Cell Biology, the American Association of Cancer Research for those in the medical field, and the American Mathematical Society. So these are large organizations that probably we can also try to explore. So for the APS submission review or abstract submission review, usually the process will go like this. Probably with the other field that will be similar. So the first one is the categorization. Probably we have to initiate it with your advisor. We select, for instance, our field, the Division of Condensed Matter Physics, DCMT, sorting category, matching our neutron scattering research topic. So we submitted November 1, 2025. And then there's actually a lot of fields that we can categorize our sample, our study. I think that was around 45 fields. So we have to carefully look at those fields. Regarding the review, I don't think they thoroughly review the abstract, because that's thousands of submission. I think around more than 10,000 submission. I also have statistics later. But they probably look at the category where to put your study or your session. So the review was done November 1 to December 23. We received the acceptance on December 23. By then we started applying for some funding, or we looked for some funding. So session placement, awarded, and oral. We have to be careful also selecting oral presentation if we want funding. So awarded an oral presentation slot in the main program, prompting immediate transition to travel plan. So once accepted, I'll start planning how to go there. So also, you don't want to forget these important things. A month, should be a month, right? A month before you leave, so you have to go to university leave application. I put some link here, so you can check later, you can take a picture, and then put it. So there are two systems we need to apply for. One, this is actually a form that you have to submit, and then you process it. And then for some insurance from the school, this is the system we have to apply. So every time we go to different conferences or just internship. So we have official request, submit paper and electronic leave forms to department and administration 1 month prior. So should be. The problem with mine probably is because there's the Chinese New Year, so I had some difficulty in planning. Class arrangement, I think it's also included here, where the professors are being notified, right? If you have some class. I think. Yeah, academic endorsement, of course, you have your acceptance notification and letter, and NSTC grant application. So I'll show also how we can apply for the NSTC. So I put here, it is important also, aside from these two, it is important to purchase your own personal travel insurance. So I have personal experiences with this. We always get another travel insurance. So you might think it's additional cost or price to pay, right? But it's really, you don't really know what could happen when you travel. I have personal experiences. Maybe two of my friends, one is Filipino and others from my landmate, their luggage was left in the origin country when they're coming back to Taiwan. So they went back in Taiwan without their luggage. So because they purchased a insurance, they were able to get some monetary compensation for that. Personally, what happened to me last year in San Francisco, the airplane already took off. Then few minutes after the takeoff, the pilot announced that we have to go back to San Francisco because there's some problems with the aircraft. So we go around the air a couple of times and then landed back to San Francisco. The flight was cancelled. We had to find another flight for the next day. So I have to stay there for another day. They found that the airlines found a hotel for me, but of course that's going to be another. They paid for it, but because of the trouble, I told this to the insurance company. Then the insurance gave me 10,000 Taiwan dollars because of that inconvenience. So it's important to purchase also your own personal travel insurance aside from this two. Actually, aside from only one, from the ASCO. Okay, so upon acceptance, so we have the usual process of going to there. Step one is upon the receiving of the abstract. So it happened around December 23. I have to secure, this is for the leave and stuff. So process the application 1 month in advance. It's a reminder for everyone. Also check your visa. It's also sometimes it's another work for some of us. So there are two links. I did not show the link, it's quite long, but these are the two forms you need to accomplish for US visa if you're coming from a country that requires visa for the US. So I actually got mine 2 years ago, so I don't have problem processing this anymore whenever I need to travel. So it's important to book your flight in accredited travel agency also, because later we'll have to work with the reimbursement where there should be a proper receipt with stamp. That's what I missed before. So I have a receipt, but they do not have the stamp on it. So it has to be returned and then go back again. So, okay. And then also important thing, register as early as you can. There are some percent discount if you register early. Maybe you also check membership. If you're a member of the organization, there will be cheaper rates. Yeah. Okay. So where do we get our money in going there? It's quite expensive. It's quite far. So the main one, of course, I tried applying for NSTC funding. So the best thing you can do, you go to I put the link also there. So you can go to the portal, create your account. If you have an account, there's an option there how to step by step fill out the information that you need for the application. So this is the electronic portal submission. Upload the accepted, what you need, accepted abstract, the invitation letter, and not really research proposal, but there's some narrative that they will require you to write in the system. Strategic budgeting, detailed price, round trip flight codes. So usually for the codes, I just look at Google Flights. Registration fees, they publicly announce it in the conference website usually. And standard daily allowances in the budget planner interface. So also inside the portal, you can check some of the information there. So request detailed supporting endorsement letter from your advisor, emphasizing the global significance of the research. So we want these, or the Department of Physics is continuously going there because as I said, this is the largest gathering of physicists around the world. So my initial proposal was like this when I checked the flight. This was just around this is return flight already to Denver. The cheapest would be around $35,000 Taiwan dollars. Conference registration is around 320 USD, so it's 300 USD around like that, 12,000 Taiwan dollar. And for the accommodation, I have to tightly budget it just to close my proposal to be around 60,000 Taiwan dollars for international conferences. Okay. So eventually, this is what I got after all the processing, after the conference actually. So for the international flight, they allowed up to 60, but that's already all your budget, so you don't wanna max that. So I spent 39,000 from the travel agency. We purchases from the travel agency. That's already round trip ticket. Registration fee. Typically, I have to stretch the budget so it will be fully covered, and then some daily allowance which include accommodation. Okay. Yeah. So my journey to Denver, it's quite a long flight from Kaohsiung. So from Kaohsiung, I have to travel to actually Tokyo first, few hours, 3 hours. And then from Tokyo directly to the Denver International Airport for around 11 hours. Going back is quite longer. From San Francisco to Taipei only is 14 hours. So the departure, of course, we have to board from Kaohsiung this should be Denver already. And then upon arrival, after the transit, I have to navigate the city. Luckily, Denver has a transit system where the airport is directly connected to the city. So the convention center is around the center of this transit system. So it's just around this, but their train is quite slow. So slower than DRA. The thing upon arrival, Denver is a city, a mile-high city. So it's quite already high even at the city itself. So the day when we arrived, it's quite hot, around 20 degrees Celsius. But the next day it started snowing, and snowing, heavy snow. Like the whole day it was snowing, we cannot go anywhere. Until all roads were covered. Luckily we arrived Friday, the conference started on Monday. So we just have a day stay at the hotel doing the presentations. Because it's so cold outside. Almost, I think the peak was negative 10 degrees Celsius when we were there. Okay, so let's look at the APS Global Summit, the experience that I had when I went there. So uniting the global physics community in Colorado, although it's named American, there are a lot of countries already there actually. So as I said earlier, this is participated by over 5,000 attendees with 14,000 submission usually from different scientific community members. and 45 sorting categories. So the convention is so huge, that's why we have to put it in a huge convention center. We have to do it in a huge convention center. For instance, this is just the exhibition hall where the different current trends and technologies were presented. So there are various, I think I have an image also later, of some commercially available or prototype quantum computers, quantum computing technology. So they presented some of them there. So this is again the world's largest physics gathering. So the 2026 summit in Denver merged the historic APS March and April meetings into a unified global event, establishing a massive collaborative space across all fields of physics, or even chemistry and different fields are also there. Okay. So for the presentation, it's just quite quick. I had the presentation on the first day. So this is just an example of what we have. So I presented the same study I conducted in Oak Ridge, so the data came from there. So the Colorado Convention Center hosted the historic, as I said, 2026 summit, welcomed by the iconic 40-foot Blue Bear outside. We joined leading minds from top international laboratories. So 15 plus concurrent specialized physics sessions daily, but there are hundreds of sessions happening in parallel sessions. So extensive industrial exhibition halls showing dilution, refrigerated hybrid broadcast setups for global satellite nodes, and also, as I said, in quantum computing, they have already those quantum computers. Aside from the, of course, it's a huge conference, but we also had a short gathering for some people. So I also attended the Taiwan night, so there are a couple of hundreds Taiwanese scientists, students who were there. Some of them are already based in the US, but I met some students also that are that came from the universities in Taiwan. So some are from Cheng Kung, as what I remember. There are 3 of us who are from Sun Yat-sen, from the physics. And some are from, I think there's some from NTU. Those are what I remember so far. And these are the quantum computer device that they usually show in the exhibition. And also, I just cannot see our picture, but I just showed Professor Zhou picture with Professor Paul Shu. If you familiar, he's the Taiwanese who pioneered the study of the superconductor, high temperature superconductor we are using right now in the lab. So that's the yttrium barium copper oxide, YBCO. So in 1987, they found, or they saw this high temperature superconductor in Houston, I think University of Houston in the US. So we have a picture, I just didn't find our picture together somewhere. Okay, so I delivered all our presentation. We shared our Oak Ridge neutron data to a crowded session room of condensed matter specialists, eliciting technical questions about our low temperature calibration method. Then the collaboration we had, although I did not meet our collaborators, some of our collaborators may not did not attend the conference, but we still tried to find other people. Engaged in networking during the evening sessions, connected with senior researchers from other neutron facilities, establishing avenues for future work. Of course, after the conference, we would like to go somewhere around Colorado. So Professor Zhou again loves to drive, so he took us to different, and he has an access to national park, and then he can take someone there for free. So we went to the Rockies. That's why I titled this talk also from neutron lab to Rockies. So Colorado or Denver itself, seated at the foot of the mountain range in the middle of the American continent. So we went to the Rockies. He drove us together with his family from Denver around 2 to 3 hours to the Rockies. So it's a huge mountain range, but we just went to some part to the Bear Lake, and the snow is still quite huge during this time. So we went to this is supposed to be a lake, but it's frozen. So yeah, so it's 2 hours, 3 hours from Denver. If during the summer it looks like this, so it's really a lake. So we went to the Rocky Mountains, and also 2 hours from there we also went to the Red Rocks Amphitheater. It's an open field amphitheater with those huge rocks around, and then I think some artists are doing some concerts over there, and also the museum where there are different dinosaurs, T-Rex, the long neck dinosaurs that can also be seen. I think they also saw these fossils around Colorado. So I think that's it. So again, I'd like to thank our sponsor, our those who funded the research and the travel. So especially the NSTC and also the National Synchrotron Radiation Research Center.
Thank you very much for your sharing. Okay, are there any questions about their stories? No? Okay. And thank you again to joining the IPPS talk. I hope see you soon.